Turkey's Vice President, Cevdet Yilmaz, reported that at least 5 people were killed.
Airstrikes hit part of the port city of Tyre just hours after Israeli Defense Forces leadership warned residents of Lebanon's 5th largest city to leave its central area.
The evacuation warning, written in Arabic, was shared on X by Arab media spokesperson Avishai Adraye.
The U.S. Space Force and Russia's Roscosmos are monitoring potentially hazardous debris from a Boeing-built satellite that exploded in orbit.
Intelsat reported that an anomaly led to the explosion earlier this week, and the cause is still under investigation.
Kentucky State Senator Johnny Turner, a well-known advocate for the coal industry and other causes in his Appalachian district, has died after suffering injuries at home when he fell into an empty swimming pool while riding a lawnmower.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted.
The host just fell into a swimming pool while riding his lawnmower.
And corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Watch out for those swimming pools while you're riding your lawnmower. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Look, they pop up out of nowhere. Boom. Hey, how'd I get in the pool? Oh, I'm getting chopped up by the mower.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Oh, I forgot things. I forgot things like this.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
I don't think my mind has a best friend. It doesn't seem loud enough.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Yo.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
Everybody's on 10. Maybe I'm getting deafer overnight. Deafer. More deaf. Re-deaf. Extra deafness. I don't know. Ultra deaf. Uber deaf. Huh? What's that? Damn, everything's so deaf in my head. Good morning, you threatening, mean, ugly, harassing people of YouTube and other platforms. It is Friday. You should be in a good mood. It's Friday. That means you get a day off tomorrow. Maybe you probably get a day off from flipping burgers or making the fries or whatever you're doing for a 30-year career, which is why you have nothing better to do than to threaten me overnight. We'll get to that later on. It is Friday, October 25th, 2024. 25th, 2024. 25th, 2024. A beautiful day in the neighborhood, as Mr. Rogers would say. Maybe we'll have Jackie Martling here if he wakes up and sees the text message that I sent him. He was supposed to come on the first hour today, but I forgot to send him the link until about a half hour ago. So maybe we'll have Jackie the Joke Man with us in the first hour. In the second hour, we'll have Darren Paltrowitz, who is a podcaster. He's got the Paltrocast or something. Paltrocast. And he's an author. And his latest book is about David Lee Roth and how David Lee Roth saved the world, which I'm not sure he did. I'm not sure the world is saved at all. Overnight, I've gotten some, and this is a good thing, I think, harassing, threatening comments on YouTube. I'm not going to say about what yet. I don't want to give the guy too much. Here's the thing. You're a nobody. If you live on YouTube and you're in the comments section, that's not how badasses carry about their business. If you're going to hurt somebody, you don't type a little girly threat on YouTube. I'm just saying, as somebody who likes to hurt people, who enjoys hurting people, who likes to take an eye out every now and then, you just do it. You just show up and do it. And clearly, you don't go on social media and say, hey, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. So I invite you to get me. I'll be waiting. Now, the comment that you're going to make my life not so joyful anymore, that presumes that my life is joyful. And that means you're a clueless motherfucker. I'm sorry. Because if you watch this program on a daily basis, or even once, you would know that I'm not a joyful guy. Joy, I know two women named Joy, but other than that, there's no joy in my life. It's just constant outrage overload. There you go. That's yesterday's program, which is not what triggered this little psychopath YouTube troll. All right, I think we'll just move on. I'm gonna play a commercial. You know what, you little YouTube troll, you could probably use to get a little stoned. I'm just saying, maybe a little Daily High Club is in your future. I would check it out if I were you. But if you're gonna check it out before you come to make my life so not joyful, you might want to go to Daily High Club and use our link so that my life will get joyful so that you can make it less joyful, if that helps you at all. I mean, I'm trying to be helpful. All right, Daily High Club, check it out.
With humble East Coast beginnings in 2015, Daily High Club is the premier destination for glass water pipes, vaporizers, and consumption accessories. If you're looking to elevate your smoking game to the next level, you're in the right place. With over 1 million top-quality smoking products sold, and with a growing base of over 10,000 monthly subscribers worldwide, we deliver the ultimate smoking experience. But Daily High Club is not just a retailer, we're lovers of the smoking scene ourselves, working with giants like Tommy Chong, Snoop Dogg, Chanel West Coast, and more. Ready to join the Daily High Club? Let our experts curate your collection with our awesome El Primo monthly subscription box, or grab one of our fun and unique pieces from our smoke shop. Click the link in the description below this video to get this party started now.
Yeah. Oh, good morning, folks. In the room with me right now are tough guy Stephen, the tough guy Ortiz, Ron Kane, who will take your eye out, but also he'll probably shoot you. He has guns. And my best friend of the last 498 years, I am drunk. I am drunk. Good morning, I am.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. It's October 25th. Do you know where your ballot is? Do you need a ballot? Come to MindDogTV.com, where you can buy ballots from any district with any name on it. MindDogTV.com. Support your local mercenaries. Buy your ballot and go vote.
Is that about Charlie Kirk?
Kirk?
Is that about Charlie Kirk? The ballot thing. Charlie Kirk. He's the leader of the the young conservatives, the teenage conservatives, the young adult conservatives. They love him. He's got a big head, huge head. Looks like, but he's complaining that his mail-in ballot never arrived. He never ordered one. He just thinks because he doesn't know how it works. But he's upset that he never got a mail-in ballot.
Well, does he know a district he lives in? Because some districts you have to actually tell them you want one.
Right, in all districts, I think you have to tell them you want
one. Like in Oregon, it's automatic because everybody votes by mail.
Well, he's in Arizona, But
Okay, yeah. See, some states, like I think Oregon, there's like 2, maybe 3 states.
so
There's
that
2.
basically the answer is no. That had nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. It's just coincidence that I just read that about Charlie Kirk 2 minutes ago, and you just came up with the ballot. You got your ballots. Just purely coincidence.
Well, it's
It is
because
purely
Jeannie
coincidence.
voted early.
Yeah, I voted this morning,
Oh,
and
all right.
I just wanted to write something about voting.
Now, aren't you dead?
Not anymore, no.
Oh, okay.
I was dead to my wife, but it's a mirror. They have these little pills. They're blue and yellow, depending on which brand you get. And so I'm no longer dead to my wife.
Blue Chew or Hims?
Are you going
Out
to
of
Madison
sponsor.
Square Garden tonight? Are you going to the big Nazi rally?
I was, but instead I'm going to be going to the Church of Satire tonight to hand out flyers for my show, for our show.
I think you'd
in
do
about 2
better.
weeks.
I honestly think you'd do better if you went to the Nazi rally and handed out the flyers at the Nazi rally, and those people get one look at you and say, "Yeah, we want to go to his show."
Yeah, but then they really, okay, let's face it, most Nazis are lazy. I mean, yeah, sure, they'll march and yell shit, but they don't really do anything, most Nazis. And I need actually need somebody who's willing to come to Hanover, PA to see a show. I'm not interested in people who say they want to see a show. I want people
Yeah, but
see the
think
show.
about it, the percentages. So if there's 27,000 Nazis there, I just pulled that number out of my ass, by the way, and it felt good.
Yeah, it smells like it, yeah.
Yeah, but so let's say there's 27,000 and like 10% show up. You still got 2,700 people. That's a huge thing for York, Pennsylvania. I mean, right?
If those guys come to your show, they're gonna want to hang out. And it's not what you.
No, I'm gonna tell you now. If they come to Hanover, PA, they probably are coming there to march.
I know. Okay.
They're probably marching. Remember, the last time I was there.
What about April?
Well, they don't do April.
We have become. I think hanging fruit itis is contagious.
Just so you know, April showers shrink the sheets because they get wet, and so then they're wearing little mini skirt clan skirts.
I thought April showers may bring Nazis.
Oh,
I get it. I'm gonna go to bed now.
I did not see that one coming.
All right.
Well, it's hard to see anything through those sheets.
It's contagious.
Last time I was in Hanover, there were people marching with Trump flags down the street, up and down the street, and people honking their horns at them.
I basically get that in the bank. I'm waiting to make a deposit, and the Trump parade goes behind me. They're all over the place. They're like Walking Dead. They're zombies.
Well, the thing about Hanover, it doesn't have a great history with race. They've had race riots there in the past, and over the past probably 10 to 15 years, they've changed a lot because they've had a huge influx of
white people.
No, Mexican population. So now there's a good section of Hanover that is now Latino, along with
the good thing about Mexicans, though, they won't eat your cat or dog unless they have like a chili pepper in their mouth.
But they will eat your potato chips because Hanover is the Utz capital of the world.
I heard that. What is that? UTZ?
Utz, yeah, UTZ.
What the fuck is
Utz? I know. Yeah. Oh, Steven doesn't know.
Steve,
we get them here. And people always look at the Lays, they look at the Y's, and they go, "What is Utz? Well, where did this Utz come from?" Now we know where the Utz come from.
What is Y's and Utz?
Well, the funny thing too is about Hanover and like the York area. It's like the snack capital of the United States because there's Snyder's, Utz, Frito-Lay, Martin potato chips, Bonton potato chips. It's like 5
I gotta
major
move there.
snack companies.
Now you made me want to move there.
And
I'm so sorry right now.
You don't want to move there.
Go eat.
If you drive through the right small town at the right time of day, it smells awful.
Really, I would have thought it would have smelled good.
No, because I think all the good smells go in the bag, but all the bad smells they pump out into the street, and it smells like rotting potatoes. I was trying to identify that smell for the longest time. It's like, oh my god! And the thing is, I drive through there and I forget to close the vent in my car before I get to the town, so that I'd at least be breathing recycled air. Otherwise, it's like, oh, fuck.
Well, yeah, I think most of the potato chip manufacturers right now they're all using storage potatoes because it's almost November, so typically they go over to storage potatoes at this point.
I just heard a car door slam in my driveway from here, and I'm wondering if it's this Nazi who's coming after me.
I think it's
gotta
the
look over
attorney.
my shoulder.
I think it's the attorney for the cat. He's looking for the chicken. He's going to sue the fuck out of him.
Actually, the cat has sent an affidavit to the chicken coop. And
it's a registered letter.
Yeah.
It's a registered letter. You better go sign for it.
All right. Looks like Jackie actually got my text this morning, even though I did not. I fucked up. I forgot to send the link until about a half hour ago because I've been overwhelmed with Nazi threats and, all the stuff I've been going through over here, which some of it I don't want.
Jackie's a professional. He's a professional. He can cope with it.
He fixes my fuck ups, and that's a good thing. You want a friend who will fix your fuck ups, right? Don't you?
Is he getting like overtime for this shit?
No, he's going to be at the brokerage tomorrow.
Okay.
And I'm going to try to bring the band. We have a wedding in the area of the brokerage. It's not too far from there. And I think it ends at 7 p.m. And I'm going to try to rally the band and make them all go and bring some people from the wedding. We'll see if we can make that happen. But ladies and gentlemen, right now, the funniest man on the planet.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you meant Jackie. Oh.
Yes.
That was funny.
Wait, I got to switch places with Ron before I do this. The aforementioned Jackie, the joke man, Martling, is here, and he's looking at his screen like, what the fuck is going on here? How are you? Good morning.
I cannot. I have no idea.
Oh. Wow, that was the funniest man ever.
That's a great routine. He does that routine. Every time he does that routine, it kills me. It never gets old.
I know. Well, while we're seeing whatever happens there.
Jackie the Black Man Martling.
Jackie the Black Sheen Martling.
I got some screen. I got some screen on the left, the pull down thing on the screen. How did it get? Oh, there it goes.
Oh, there it is.
Okay. Now I'm happening. All right.
I'm sorry.
Now, what were you talking about? I was not paying attention to you, of course.
I was talking about forgetting to send you the link.
What'd you screw up? I have no idea.
I said I forgot to send you the link until 8:30 this morning, so I wasn't sure you were going to be here. So that's all. That's the fuck up.
I just came and sat down. I sat down at 9 o'clock, and the link is there, and all's fine. What do you mean?
Wow.
You think I look in advance and get all worried and nervous?
No, I was. If I didn't get my link, I would sleep. I would sleep till 10 or 11 or 12 or 13 or something. I would sleep at.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who cares? Good morning, fellas. How is everybody? Everybody all right?
All right, except here's the thing. They're doing all right, except Nazis are coming to get all of us. They're mad at us for things we've done.
They're mad at you, Matt. They're coming for you, Matt. Nazis don't bother me. They don't even fuck with me anymore.
Well,
we've
had political guests on, and apparently we've triggered some Nazis with the political stuff we've been talking about. So,
why would Nazis go after a bald Hitler?
Himmler.
I think because I associate with a black, whatever he is, Haitian, or dog-eating, cat-eating Haitian over there.
They think he's a race traitor.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so
it's pretty scary. The whole world is pretty scary.
Yeah,
they think that that Matt collects us because he has a cripple, a black guy, and a gay guy, and his collection's almost complete.
So
wait a minute, which one am I?
I think you're the black guy, Jackie. You're the black guy, Jackie.
Yeah, in a way, he kind of is. I watched your the stand-up memories with Robert Klein this week, and the big thing that came to me, it was about me. The big revelation is why I sound like a New York Jew, because I sound like Robert Klein a lot. With his accent, the way he talks, and it didn't occur to me until I heard him talking to you. It's like, wow, he sounds like me, and that's why people are always telling me I sound like a Jew. So I don't know if that's a good thing.
Yeah, you don't hear it. You don't hear it until you're talking to him and talking to somebody else at the same time, because you're so used to hearing that kind of language and slang, and and then you see him talk compared to somebody else, you can go, "Holy Christ, what did he do? Just step out of a Brooklyn sewer?"
Yeah.
But
Peter Bales loves him.
People complain because we let him go. We let him go on about the politics and blah blah blah. And like I said in the email to you, I said, it's Rick Klein. If he doesn't have the freedom to just say whatever the hell he wants, just go ahead, rap on, brother.
Too. He doesn't wait for questions. He'll just start talking before you even introduce him. He's on a rant.
He's a soliloquy looking for a place to happen.
Yeah. Now, he did say that he was thinking about retiring. He's 82 years old, and I know he doesn't work that much anymore. But I think that and I definitely could understand why he just wants to just go to the gym every day and do what he does. But
everybody thinks about retiring when they show up for a gig and there's nobody in the crowd. Everybody.
Yeah, that describes my life for the last few years.
I worked a place where I was sold out last year. Sold out to it was a small place, like 150, but it was packed to the gills last year. And this year I had like 40 people. And how do you do the math? You can sit there all day trying to figure, is it Halloween? Is it the fall? It's just so hit or miss. You never know.
Yeah.
It makes you crazy.
Right. And I've been dealing with club owners.
That's why I'm promoting.
What? The brokerage tomorrow night. Best club on Long Island. Best club in America, in North America. Best place to see a comedy show. Go see Jackie.
I love working there.
Yeah.
For the first time since the 1980s, I am currently awaiting payment on 2 gigs. Not 1, 2.
Wow. How long have you been waiting?
It's not, like a week or 2, but that's not supposed to happen anymore, because then you get a notice that the guy was killed in a traffic accident,
Wow.
It's just sort of.
My wife and I were talking about that just last night, because I have several outstanding payments that are coming, and they're over a month due. And so it's like, what? And she said, "What? You don't get paid right on the spot?" I said, "No, that's with the rock clubs. They pay you cash right on the spot. Or we IRS, they don't pay us cash. They don't get
it's volunteer,
right?" But no, with a lot of these corporate stuff and the facilities I do, I got to bill them and give them a 60-day window of payment, and sometimes it doesn't come to 90 days, 120 days. It's like, what the fuck? That's not entertainment.
That it's never happened. This hasn't happened in so long, and now it's like the guy, the producer of the show, lives out of state, and then the other one. They changed the accountants, and like, wow, these are excuses from back in 1983,
Right.
But I don't know about not getting paid.
I don't know if your memory will go back to off-hour rockers, but imagine you're doing a gig with the off-hour rockers, and instead of a guy coming up and paying you cash at the end of the night, he comes up with a W-2 and says, "Fill this out," and all of a sudden you're doing paperwork like a fucking mook, like a regular person. It's just what
the reason that never happened, because the amount of money that we made, most people had in their pockets. It was so little. What was crazy was New Jersey. When we first started working comedy in New Jersey, and all of a sudden you get all these forms that you had to join this kind of thing and this kind of workman's thing. And, you know, Jersey was a crazy thing. And they said, you better fill it out or else the next time you go to get paid there, you're not going to get paid. But that seems to have eased off in the last 10 or 20 years. But for a while, it was, you know, you're working at Rascals and making all this cash, and all of a sudden there's a guy tapping on your shoulder, like, oh, Jesus Christ, you know.
Yeah.
It's who cares?
I wanna talk to you about that. Well, earlier in the week, this week, we had Sean Smith on from Australia. She's the sex worker comedian.
How is she? I wanted to meet her.
Well, she was on the evening show, or I would have I thought about asking you to come on. It was already she had her guy with her.
I thought she stood you up. Didn't it say she stood you up?
No, it was a time zone thing, and she couldn't get the time zone happen. So we did a Tuesday night here, which was Wednesday morning for her. It's kind of weird. It's always difficult with Australia.
I saw that. I saw that, and I thought she didn't show up for that either, or was she just late?
Oh no, she was late for that because they were having trouble connecting. It was like so, but we did hook it
Well,
up.
the first Tuesday, because remember it was the Tuesday before they had equipment issues, and we did it right. So again, right.
But the thing that
you fuck one kangaroo, you know.
Yeah. The thing she said several times in that interview, she brought up the name Bill Hicks, and then later that night, I was talking to you, and you showed me this poster of the dirty comics, whatever, the dirtiest, filthiest, bad, foul-mouthed comics, whatever it was, and Hicks was
Calm
on there.
down.
Yeah.
Comedy's Dirtiest Dozen. It was called Comedy's Dirtiest Dozen, and we taped it in 1989, and our pay was. They paid our initiation to SAG, so we all got to join SAG in 1989.
You said SAG. He said SAG. I just want to.
Yes.
Yeah, SAG. You wouldn't join.
Don't be so funny. Don't be so funny. You don't wear it well.
I know.
But it was a very, very interesting shoot because there were 12 of us. It was Comedy's Dirtiest Dozen, and there was 12 of us. And I went on. Did I ever tell you this?
No.
I went on 36th. I was the 36th person. The way they filmed, the way they filmed it, there were like 5 or 6 or 7 cameras, but they took 7-minute film canisters. I guess that's how they got the film really cheap. You know, everything was done on a shoestring back then. It was actually produced by this guy Stuart somebody, and Rick Messina was part of it, and Rick Messina is the guy who wound up branching off and managing Tim Allen and Drew Carey and stuff like that. So it was 7-minute film canisters, okay? So at the end of 7 minutes, you better be done by 7 minutes because the film runs out. And what they did was a guy, Mike Egan, got up and got the crowd psyched up. All right, you ready to go? We're going to record the first comedian, and then got the crowd going. He brought up the MC, Ben Creed. Ben Creed said hello and introduced the first comedian, and then the first comedian came on, and it was to stop and change film.
Right.
And then when it's time for the second comedian, Mike Egan said, all right, you ready to go? Here's Ben. Ben says, all right, here we go. Here's comedian number 2. Times 12 comedians, and I was 12th. So it's the 36th person to step on that stage at like 2:30 in the morning. It was a long fucking night, man. But it was great fun, and there were a lot of great people. It was like Tim Allen, Otto and George, Chris Rock, Bill Hicks, and a bunch of, Monty Hoffman, really, really funny, fun people. The one thing about it is that it was the fattest I ever was. Well, I think I was 220 when we did that. I'm the size of a house.
Wow.
But, and who was in it? John Fox. Did you know John Fox?
I remember
John
Fox.
That was?
Yeah.
He was good. And the very last thing of that movie is, they're going around doing some interstitials too, which were kind of fun. And me and Fox were sitting, and we're done with the taping. We're sitting on 2 chairs in the crowd, two seats, but we're sitting up on the back of the seats. and I told him a really filthy joke, and he screamed, and our laughter fades out as the film ends.
Oh,
as the credits end. Oh, it's classic.
Is that still available?
You want to hear the joke? I'll tell you the joke.
Okay.
Comedy's dirtiest dozen.
All right, I'll look for it. Wow, that
It's
sounds like
for rent.
fun.
It's probably $1.99 or something like that. It might even be free.
Oh, that's too much for me. Forget about it. I'm a working guy. I remember.
You know what's great? When it first came out, there was the VHS box, right? And there was Tim Allen and a smaller picture of Chris Rock and a little bit smaller picture of me. And that was the box. And within like 5 years, the box now is a big picture of Tim Allen, a small picture of Chris Rock, and I mean, there is a smaller than a postage stamp picture of me down in the corner. And that's the one that you'll see on the web. It's very funny.
And they didn't promote Hicks at all? Hicks wasn't on the cover?
He I don't think he had, it was only 1989. I don't think he had fully blossomed. I didn't make any of the calls, so I have no idea, but I don't think Hicks was on the cover at all.
Wow. What was the audience like at 2:30? What was the audience like at 2:30 in the morning when you went on?
They were much worse than you think. As time went on, people leaving. People think 12 comedians, that's going to be a long show. We started at 6. It's 2:30 in the morning. I mean, at least a bunch of the people stayed there. They were pretty loyal, but they were doing their best. But, it wasn't the greatest taping, so they didn't have the greatest mics on the crowd. And so
I definitely feel that.
It's a timestamp. It's great fun. It's great fun.
I found it on.
I would say it almost seems like 8.5 hours. That's like a full-time job and a lunch break by the time you came on.
You have no idea. I was supposed to be fourth. And Rick Messina comes up and says, Jackie, you know what? Disney is coming to look at Tim. I got to put on Tim fourth. And besides, nobody could close this show but you. You have to close it. Nobody could do it. But, he pulled on my dick, Nobody could do it like you,
And nobody else can put on a postage stamp but you.
So what was the joke? What was the joke? The joke.
Hold on. You found it up there, Steve?
Yeah, Steve wants to say something.
I found three covers for it. There's the pink cover with Tim Allen, Chris Rock, and you in the corner. There's a collector's edition with just Chris Rock and Tim Allen on the front. Then there's a third cover from DVD Planet Store, which is Comedy's Dirtiest Dozen, which has everybody's picture on the front.
Wow.
Oh, I'd like to see that one.
Yeah. What?
I was saying I can put it up, or I can send it to one of you guys if you like.
It's radio. You never say
Oh my.
Yeah, you're fired.
So the joke. You were going to tell us the joke, Jackie.
Yeah.
Oh, so two deaf mutes are walking along, and the first guy says to the second guy, "How you doing, man?" He signs with his hand. "How you doing, man?" And the other guy's like, "I'm doing great." He said, "Whoa! I can't believe you talked. You could talk?" He says, "Well, yeah, I found a doctor. He's fantastic. You should go to him." He says, "All right, please give me his name. Give me his name." So the second guy gives him the doctor's name, and the mute guy goes to see the doctor. He walks in and says, "Doc, my friend said that you helped him talk. He was mute like me, but now he can talk. I'd like you to make it so I could talk." And Doc says, "No problem. Pull down your pants and bend over the table." So he pulls down his pants and bends over the table. And the doctor takes a broomstick and sticks it up the guy's ass. And the guy goes, "Ah!" And the doctor says, "Very good. Come back tomorrow and we'll start on the bees."
And that was me when I had the lump on my wrist. I told that story. Wow.
That's I haven't told that joke in 40 years. That's a great joke.
Joey Gaynor was on that show. My pal Joey was on that show. He never brought that up. Listen, I've heard every story he's ever had to tell. He never told me he was part of a comedy's Dirtiest Dozen.
Oh, and my show, where was I? I did a show. I was out in Las Vegas, and all of a sudden Stephen Pearl showed up. Stephen Pearl was in that. He's a very, very funny guy from San Francisco, and he was at my show in Las Vegas.
Wow.
Stephen Pearl, Joe Scarano, Thea Vidal, the 400-pound, she's a huge black comedian. She's the 400-pound chocolate kiss is her name.
One of the queens of comedy.
Wow.
Yeah, is that right? So is Matt.
I think it was her, some more. Oh.
No, but I want to ask you about Hicks. Was Hicks first? Was he ever on Howard? Did Howard ever have him on? Well, you were there.
No, not that I remember.
Yeah.
He was an odd duck.
He was, but
he was a nice
now
guy.
he's got this lore around him, like Lenny Bruce or something. Like people have him up on. I guess when you die young, that's part of it. But there's all these people. I know a lot of comedians who have him on another level of idolization, which I thought he was funny, but I don't get that where he's part of.
I don't think it existed then, but he was great, and everybody thought he was great. But he's a wise guy.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Comedy's 30th doesn't end 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Because your name is longer than everybody else's. It looks like more than a dozen names. Because yeah, you got 4 names.
You get your own line to yourself. You get your own line to yourself.
All right, get off the screen. We don't need that. Who put that?
He said he wanted to see it. I was being nice. He has to see it.
Don't ever be nice. Fucking sick of these fucking nice guys. Yeah.
Be nice, Hitler.
Yeah, but so Sean brought him up a bunch. So I have the idea that she's one of these people who puts Hicks on this kind of mountain pedestal, whatever, comedy greatness. I liked Hicks, but
he had that real negative attitude. That not negative, just like that no bullshit. I don't find that especially funny. I thought he was funny and incisive, but me, I'm life is serious enough. I do my gigs so I can laugh and people can laugh, and that's a little childish, but it's also important.
Did you ever know Dennis Leary?
Not well, just slightly. He came out. They gave me a show. There was a show after the Channel 9 show on Channel 9 called Cafe. I don't know. It was a stand-up comedy show, and I was the host. And he came on that once. And then I think I worked with him once at Caroline's. But he was he's an odd duck. I don't know whether he didn't like me or whether he was just very high-strung into himself, But he's very good to his friends, so
Yeah, now I think part of the lore with Hicks is that Leary's biggest hit was this No Cure for Cancer thing, and he stole that verbatim from Bill Hicks. That was Bill Hicks's bit, and there's a big, Leary tried to say that Hicks stole it from him, and Hicks always said, "Yeah, I was so good that I did it 10 years before him. I stole it 10 years before he ever did it." But so I think that's part of the lore with Hicks too, is that Dennis Leary's career, his greatest success was verbatim stolen from Hicks. So,
that's how out of the loop I am, because I was so ensconced in the Stern show during those years. I never even heard that. There's so many stuff there's all the craziness that people are always screaming about Dice that he stole. Otto and George, he stole George's attitude, the attitude of the puppet, which is just being a wise guy. And they said, Dice stole the nursery rhymes from Otto. those nursery rhymes. I knew those nursery rhymes when I was 7 years old. They were,
Right.
you know, in the 50s. You know, the Mary Had a Little Lamb and all, and they were very funny, and they're dirty. But you know, just the way he couched them, that worked,
I was
you know.
assuming you were going to. People were accusing Dice of stealing Mother Goose's act. I was like, where you going
You know,
with this?
one of my proudest things is Otto. Otto was in Comedy's Dirtiest Dozen, and I gave him a line, and he used it. I've always been proud of it because he was talking about George was saying George is the dummy, and George says, "Yeah, I was with this fat broad. She was huge. She spread her legs, and a fucking Greyhound bus came out of a cunt." And I gave him the line. He said, "Yeah," and the bus driver had a clothespin on his nose. Which added to the absurdity, you know.
Otto was a weird guy. Ralphie, you know Ralphie, you've been to Ralphie's house, you know Ralphie. He used to have a club in Kings Park, New York, and Otto would play there frequently. But Ralph had to send a driver to go get him, and basically Otto would have to split his pay with the driver because the driver I think the driver got $150 to go pick him up and drive him home and all that stuff, and he was only getting $300 on the night. It was just, you know, but times. But I mean, he was a guy who basically he didn't drive. How do you get to gigs if you can't drive yourself?
He was such a character. And he hooked up with Dom Ippolito, who became Chips Cooney. He always had somebody, you know. I loved Otto because we were bonded, because in the early 80s, we were the two guys that were too dirty to hire, but that people loved once we got hired. And I booked shows like crazy on Long Island when I first started. And I had to stop him. I said, "Otto, I love you, man. I'm your biggest fan. But if you got a guy booked to headline a show and he doesn't show, after the second time he just didn't show." I mean, I could go up and fill in all the time in the world, but when you just can't have your headliner not show up. And I just said, "Listen, that's it. Fool me one, Charlie Brown, pull out the football,
Yeah.
But he was such a hoot once he got there. Holy Christ, we had so many laughs. I mean,
yeah, I got an idea. Why don't somebody do a puppet act with Steven being the puppet? That would be a good one.
I've already pitched this once, and nobody wants to do it.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to stick their hand up his ass.
A marionette, not a Muppet. That's a different.
I would love to. I would love to.
Pinocchio, not Elmo.
Who's with you tomorrow night at the brokerage? Is it Peter?
No, Peter Bales got a gig, a big paying corporate gig somewhere. So tomorrow night, it's really interesting. I have this guy, Rich Harkaway, who was starting out in comedy.
Is Rich the one that was with you in Pennsylvania when I saw you? Yeah.
Oh yeah. At Joel's Hole, whatever it was.
Yeah, Joel's. Yeah, Soul Joel's or whatever. Yeah.
He was doing comedy, and then he realized he might not make a fortune doing it, so he dropped out of comedy and went to med school and became a urologist. And now he has an amazing practice, and him and his wife are both urologists and make a fortune. And now he's back doing comedy. And he approached me years ago, like 4 years ago, and said, "Hey, can I open for you sometimes?" And I said, "Sure." And he's a good guy, but he's from Long Island, so he's got a real lot of friends on Long Island. So we're probably going to sell out the brokerage tomorrow night, that is such a great room. But when it's packed, there's nothing like it. It's just insane good.
That would suck because I have not bought advance tickets because I'm not sure with these wedding things. Sometimes you get to go. They make you play an extra hour. I mean, they don't make you, but they offer enough money that you can't say no. And then I wouldn't want to buy the tickets and waste them, so I was planning on buying at the door. It would suck if we got there, brought a bunch of people, and then we can't get in. But
I would love it if it was sold out and you couldn't get in, and you'd have for the rest of your life say, "I went to see Jackie, but it was sold out." That's such a nice, even though there's only 40 seats in the place, but that's all right.
Will be fun. I guess, to be rejected from a club that I actually promote every friggin' day on this program. Oh, you can't get in. So yeah.
Don't be. So since I saw you, I was in Las Vegas, right?
Yeah. And we had April Brucker on, who was in Vegas, and I was asking her if she, because Vegas has changed a lot. It's not like it was, and that place that you were playing was not like in the. It was like off the strip or something, off the old strip. Is that where you are? Like,
well, it's I guess further north. It's just short of the old downtown. It's on Sahara, which is a main boulevard, but it's it's a ways up. It's not right in the heart of everything. So I didn't hardly see anybody. I mean, I went to dinner with Dennis Blair and his wife and my friend Jonathan, and we had it's a great hotel with a great little stage, a great comedy room, and it was really fun. But we did a TV show. A friend of mine, Jonathan Scott, my friend out there, has been doing news shows and TV shows and working with NBC for a long time. And he talked them into giving them, they gave him the half hour after Saturday Night Live on the NBC TV affiliate, but just in Las Vegas. So 7 people are going to see it. But we made a TV show. I dressed up as Hugh Hefner and did my monologue of filthy jokes. And there's sexy dancers and a couple singers. And he's going to put the whole thing together kind of like Laughing. And it's supposed to air tomorrow night.
wow.
But that was great fun. And they had, the girls came down from the brothel up north. And, that prostitution is legal. Or brothels are legal. And, it's like you died and went to heaven. And the girls were so nice, and everybody was so cool. And there was a Trump. I sent you the picture.
Let me just say, in heaven, you don't have to pay for it. It's free. I'm just saying.
Wow.
Yeah, but
if you're a comedian, you don't have to pay. If you're a comedian, you don't have to pay. That's why being comedian is heaven as much as it is hell. We get equal bucketfuls.
Right. That's why Sean was saying that Vegas felt like home to her because prostitution is legal there. But that's weird because Vegas is such a weird town that people will be up on a Saturday night now, whether they're watching television or they're probably in the casinos and stuff. But it's just a strange town. That we know. We had a couple of people on that have actually broadcast television shows, and people were selling time in Vegas. It's a weird, no place else has that still. Broadcast.
It's odd. Now, the show I did started at 7:00, which is so odd for Vegas. And not only that, this is one of the only hotels that doesn't have gambling, doesn't have casinos. So, doesn't have machines. It's just shows and just a nice, clean, beautiful hotel, and it was really fun. I'm going to go back there because it was a goof. It was a goof, and a lot of the people I know were. Who's on? If you look at the thing, it says coming soon. Jackie the Joke Man Martling, the unknown comedian Rick Overton, Richie Minervini. It's like a poster from 1982.
Yeah. 1975. Really, it sounded like it. All
right. All right. Now, who is this? Who is this April you just talked about from Las Vegas?
April Brucker.
I didn't recognize that name.
She's blonde, kind of sexy blonde. She's a ventriloquist, and she's got she does a lot of she has a Trump puppet, a Biden puppet, but she also has this Mae Wilson, I think, is her main puppet, which is like a Marilyn Monroe or
more like Mae West.
Mae West, yeah.
She's a slut.
Huh?
The puppet is. The puppet's a slut.
Yeah. So,
and is she fun? Is she fun?
Yeah, she's a fun. I've had her on like 3 or 4 times. She's a lot of fun. It's just weird for me because I don't know how to fucking talk to a puppet, and it's like you can't talk to her. You have to talk to the puppet a lot of times, and it just feels weird to me. It's like
I will tell you, years ago, obviously before he died, jokes are so funny. Remind me to tell you about Kay Ballard. You know that? You recognize that name?
Yeah. I was stuck in an elevator with her at the Sahara.
All right. Save that thought. So Oh, so Otto and George had a talk show. My friend Bobby Capelli produced this talk show, and you can still get it. It's still on YouTube somewhere. It's called it's got a real outrageous name, like the Dump Pit or something like that, or the Snake Pit. And Otto and George were the hosts. So he was Johnny Carson. Him and Otto and George were Johnny Carson. So like you said, you go there and sit in the chair, and the dummy is interviewing you. If you talk to the dummy, you look like an idiot. But if you answer Otto, you look like it was so ridiculous and so outside. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. But nobody, it just died after like 5 episodes. No, they had sexy girls and the dummy, and we all did monologues. But it was too outside for people's,
Yeah, Otto had a public access show out of Jersey where he lived for, I don't know, a couple of years there. And he had some people I know on. And they were, because he had all these girls, like models or something, that were on the set. But I don't know how he got them. But he had to pay them, I guess. But it was just a very uncomfortable thing. You could see all the comedians going on there. And it was like, I'm not used to being interviewed by a puppet. It just feels weird. And they were trying too hard to be funny. And it was not good.
Yeah, because there's no way you could be funny sitting next to a dummy that's as funny as George. I mean, you basically become the straight man, or else you look like an asshole.
Right, and
it's that simple.
The dummy was so friggin'. I mean, you talk about blue. The dummy was the foulest mouthed and most racially insensitive comedian I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot of them. I mean, but he was just like off the charts. Bad.
I had a date last night, and I went to the door, and the door opened, and her father answered the door, and he said, "Son, what are your intentions?" I said, "What are my intentions? I want to fuck her." Where do you go with that? I want to fuck her.
Especially when it's that little fucking puppet. Yeah.
Yeah, and his neck would go up 4 inches. I want to fuck her. So Kay Ballard, I did a show with her like in 1980. I did a show at what was the place on the Bottom Line with Freddie Roman, Orson Bean, Soupy Sales, and Kay Ballard.
Wow.
And Kay Ballard came up to me and said, oh, she said, "So you're the guy with all the jokes. I love jokes." And she told me her favorite joke. So yesterday, a friend of mine sent me something I've seen before. He said, "Look at this. This is the 5 oldest jokes in the world," right? Which, is by anybody's argument. But there was a joke book. The first known joke book was called Philogelos. Philogelos. And I guess it was Greek and written by a couple guys, whatever. And it had a few of the jokes from there. And one of the jokes from 1200 is the joke that Kay Ballard told me was her favorite joke. I just think that's just so funny. She said her favorite joke was going up to somebody and saying, "Sorry, but was it you or your brother that died?" Which is just so dark. And that's one of the 12, one of the jokes from 1200.
Wow.
And it's so funny because a lot of the jokes are about priests and altar boys and bishops all fucking each other. And they're like, all of a sudden, oh, wow, in the 1950s, the priests were taking advantage of the boys. How did we not notice? It's been going on for centuries, you fucking idiots. It's never stopped. It's been going on for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years and eons. Oh, and they were doing this back in the 50s? Wake the fuck up. Oh, my God.
They were doing it back in Stone Age. So, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
It's been popular forever, man.
Yeah. Has Ron said anything this morning? Has he even said hello? We heard a peep out of Ron, or is that just like a picture of Ron? I'm not sure. What's going on?
His head
I
is
thought it
moving.
was a still.
It is a still.
Oh, I thought it was a still.
Good morning, Ron.
Good morning.
I was just testing to see if that was a still or not. But yeah, Kay Ballard, my mom, used to have a show. Speaking of broadcast, back, oh God, like the 60s, early 70s. The in-laws or something like
mothers-in-laws with Eve Arden.
Right, and that's about the time.
Mothers-in-law.
Yeah. For some reason, my parents took me to Vegas. I was like 9 years old. And Kay Ballard was in the elevator with us, and something happened. It got stuck, and we were stuck there for like 2 hours. My mother was a huge fan, but I could tell, even as a 9-year-old, she was an annoying fangirl. Like and Kay Ballard was not happy to be stuck in an elevator with somebody who was just like wanted to like play interviewer. It was, and that's all. But all those people you mentioned, I've met. Orson Bean, Soupy Sales, I met twice. Kay Ballard, and now I feel like I need to be dusted off here. Just knowing Stephen, you know who any of those people are? I'm just curious.
I know none of them. I know absolutely none of them.
I don't know how you can know Soupy
Sales. Oh, you know who Soupy Sales is. You know who Soupy Sales is.
He doesn't. He's a baby. He's 33 years old or something. What? 33.
Soupy Sales was even on Sesame Street. Okay, Soupy Sales was even on Sesame Street, right? So you must know who Soupy Sales is.
I don't think he was on Sesame Street.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
He was a regular.
No, I didn't watch a lot of Sesame Street either.
Yeah, he did a bit about they were selling pies. They did a bit where they were selling pies, and they were teaching kids how about I before E after C. And so they're using the words pie and piece, and the sign said piece of pie for like 50 cents or something. But the rule is I before E except after C, right, or something like that. And then he comes in, he goes, I want a piece of P. That was his line.
GD still watches reruns of Sesame Street because he can't remember that.
That's still not ringing a bell. So,
was Soupy on NBC while you were still on NBC with Howard? Was Soupy?
That was a whole great story. You know, it's funny because I went to college at Michigan State, and when I went to college, Soupy started in Detroit. So my roommate saw Soupy when my roommate was a little kid. You know, Soupy had a kids show in Detroit before he came to New York, and had a show that was like for a little bit older kids. You know what I mean? But it was a kiddie show. But when we're at NBC, I forget who came on after us, but at some point, whoever was on after us got fired or let go, and Soupy came on. And Howard was all excited because Soupy Sales was one of his heroes, and here Soupy's coming on after us, and it's a whole big. And NBC made a big deal about Soupy Sales going to follow the Stern Show, or I don't even know if they made it follow the Stern Show even back then. It was like Soupy Sales coming to NBC. And immediately Howard got so pissed off because they gave Soupy a limo. And they didn't give Howard a limo when he came to New York. So right away he was pissed off. And then Soupy would go on. I guess Soupy was on before us. I always say us, before him. So Soupy was on at like from say 2 to 4 or 1 to 4. And Howard came on at 4, and Soupy would eat his lunch. And when Howard got there, the microphone would smell like the salad dressing from Soupy's salad. And Howard used to throw shit fits, just being an idiot. And there was the famous thing where they supposedly cut the piano wires on Soupy's piano. That was a very famous episode. I'm sure it was a sound effect. But, Fred got out the clippers and clunk, oh, Jesus. So wound up, like everything with Howard. Here's my favorite guy in the world, Soupy Sales. And a month later, they're bitter enemies,
Wow, that's a shame.
That's just how he rolled. That's how he rolled. And, it was theater. But, with him, you don't know where the theater ends and the theater starts. And, like, who knows?
Yeah, it seemed to be an epidemic there over at 30 Rock that people would eat their lunch and make the microphone smell like crap. Because I heard at least 3 people. Imus was one of them, but EJ Crummy, who was I was on his show a lot of times over there. He used to complain about that. The microphone smells like garlic. The microphone smells like, what the fuck? At 30 Rock, you got enough money to buy new microphones or have a different microphone for every guy, so they're not complaining about.
Well, you really don't need to eat. You don't really need to eat and then sit there and talk into the microphone. That there's two ways to look at it. Jesus.
I must complain about Steve Summers' breath smelled like onions or garlic or whatever, and made it probably onions because he's not like me.
They used to read me the riot act. They'd read me the riot act because once in a while, me and Nancy would go out and buy a leg of lamb. And I get the leg of lamb and put holes in the whole thing and put huge cloves of garlic all throughout the lamb, and then put it on a spit and cook it so slowly. And it was now I'm going to have to get lamb for tonight. And it was so delicious, but there was so much garlic in it. But, I was a drunk. I couldn't smell anything. I didn't know anything. In the morning, I walk into the studio. I walk into that little studio, and Fred and Howard be like, Jesus Christ, it's like a wall of garlic. Because every pore was emanating garlic,
Are you still a Gavone? Because in the movie, you're a Gavone. In the Joke Man movie, you are a Gavone. Are you still? Are you that? Because I am. I still eat like a fucking animal. Like when I'm hungry, especially if I'm really hungry. But in the movie, you're doing some pretty Gavone-ish, going to town on.
I don't know what that word means.
It's like a pig, like somebody who just eats.
No, people tease me because when I eat chicken, I eat the entire thing, like right down to the bone. And if I'm sitting there with my girlfriend and she's eating chicken wings, when she's done, I take another pass at them because half the meat that's closer to the bone is still on it. So I sit there, and so whenever we'd stop at a place that had chicken wings and I would eat it, people love to take my picture because they thought I was but I'm not a slob. I'm eating chicken wings. There's no real, you can sit there and find, what are you, there's a knife and a fork? You sit there and you eat the wings and you wash
my grandfather was like a surgeon, and they used to say that I took after him, but basically when he ate chicken, he would just, with a knife and a fork, and you would see there would be no meat left. Nothing. It was
you could reassemble. You could reassemble the bird when I was done.
Right.
Now, were you the kind of person who chewed the marrow on the bone? Because I have friends who break the chicken leg and eat the marrow.
No, I didn't. I didn't go that crazy. I didn't go that crazy.
I would do that on barbecue.
What kind of barbecue? Like a
slow smoked, like a really any slow smoked barbecue. It's got bone in it. The marrow's always good. You can spread that on toast. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Now, Jackie, you did.
I think hang up on him. Hang up on him.
Now, Jackie, when you were on the road, did you ever have to cook food on your car engine? I had a friend of mine who used to cook food, wrap it in foil, and like he had a steak or something, he cooked it on the car engine while he was driving, and he was so good at it that he could drive he could say I'm gonna put a steak on the engine, and I'm gonna drive 250 miles, and then I'll turn it over, drive another 70 miles, and the steak will be perfect.
I'm laughing because I did that. That's what I mean. I was very young when I did that, but I am familiar with that routine. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Jackie? Okay, I don't. Stump the joke man.
You stumped the joke man.
I don't belong. I don't belong on this podcast with you fucking losers. Holy Christ! You're cooking food on the. Jesus Christ.
Well,
I never did that.
No, I'll cop to that. I definitely am a loser. I was. Now I'm ready to lay down and die. I really am. I'm gonna just throw some dirt on me. So we have a guy. We have a guy from Long Island on in the second hour, and I'm just curious. Have you ever heard of Darren Paltrowitz? Paltrowitz. Yeah, that's how I say it. He's a Long Island guy. He writes about rock and roll, but he's got a podcast I don't know. I feel like I should know this guy, Darren Pautrowitz. Have you ever?
I
come
know
across?
his. I don't know where I know. I know his name. I know his name.
Yeah.
He might have even interviewed me before because his name is very familiar. But
Yeah.
he's not? Is he a comic?
I don't know. I know he's kind of affiliated with Govs and somewhat Governor's Comedy Club, but he writes about his latest book is about David Lee Roth. He's got a bunch of books out of that stuff and wrestling. He's tied into the wrestling scene somehow. I don't know. We'll find out when he gets here.
I don't know whether I'm more interested in David Lee Roth or wrestling, but I'm pretty sure it's neither.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you know, David Lee Roth's a kind of an interesting guy because while he was still with Van Halen, he was volunteering as a paramedic in New York City. And he told a story about a guy who had a heart attack. He's a paramedic, and the guy had a heart attack. He's unconscious, and he wakes up and he sees David Lee Roth on top of him, like we're getting ready to do CPR on him. And he's like, "Did I die? What the fuck is this all about?" Like,
well, what kind of party is this? I wake up and find David Lee Roth on top of me.
Yeah.
You know, he is an interesting guy. He came on the Stern Show a lot of times, and man, you know who he's like? The person you could most compare him to is Don King. You know, he would just start talking, and man, you know, if you just let him go, he'd talk for 24 hours. You know, and he's eloquent and smart. I'm not sure anybody gives a shit about what he was talking about, but he go on and on and on and on and on. And I could actually see after years being in the band with him saying, you know what, he's the best. Now let's get rid of him. You know?
You crazy guy.
I mean, I can't imagine being on the road with like I'd say, hey, pull over. I want to cook a steak.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man.
See, Jackie, you're mocking me, but you're gonna try that with your lamb. You're going to some garlic and lamb and just put it on there.
I got it. I got it going right now. You know that's.
So they don't send a limo for you?
Time, but that's so fun.
They don't send a limo for you? To the brokerage? The brokerage isn't sending a limo for you? You got to drive yourself down there?
Of course they send a limo. What are you talking about?
All right. Well, because I think I asked you if you drive yourself to gigs, and you were like, of course I drive myself to gigs. What kind of question I get? I was like, well, I'm assuming you're such a big star that they send limos for you everywhere you go.
By the time I'm done, I'm so drunk that there's no way I could drive myself home.
No, you don't drink anymore.
You know.
Oh,
that's right.
Yeah. But you do still smoke every once in a while, right? Because you sent me a picture of your attic.
I just harvested crop 2024, and it is beautiful. It's up there. In fact, it's dry enough. Why don't you come get some?
I didn't see any buds on there. That's what I was looking. It looked like all leaves. Are there buds in there? I wasn't seeing any buds.
It's hanging upside down, so the fan leaves are covering everything.
Ah, okay.
You know, they're all upside down.
I'll be there before the show is over. You guys carry on without me.
I'm on my way. I'm wheeling my wheelchair, so it'll take me about 4 days, but I'll be
there.
Yeah. I don't know how good it is, but the good news is there's a lot of it. So if the pot is decent, you know, everybody loves my pot, you know, because it's not real crazy strong. You know, it's just right, you know.
Jackie's the one who wrote that song, My Buds Bring All the Boys to the Yard, the Boys to the Yard. That's Jackie. He wrote that one.
I never even heard that.
What the hell's he talking about?
I think he's stoned right now. Somebody sent me a thing last night for, do I want to take part in a ketamine study? And it pays $3,000 to take ketamine for I guess a couple of months, and they monitor what happens to me on it. I'm like, fuck yeah. Yeah, that's me. I want to get paid $3,000 to trip.
What's it supposed to do?
It's a hallucinogen. It's kind of like mild. I don't know if it's mild. I really don't know. I've never taken it, but it's a hallucinogen, and they use it for therapeutic. You know, to treat anxiety, depression, all that kind of stuff. But I'm in it for the recreational aspect of it. I mean, obviously, I have all those things: anxiety, depression, stress, or whatever. But I'm not. I don't care about fixing it. I just want to get. I want an escape. That's what I want.
So what? Take it, and then you fill out a diary of,
I don't know. I have.
unicorns or anything.
I was applying for it, and my wife walked in on me, so I closed it down. So I'm gonna finish applying for it today, and then find out.
How do you apply for it? I want to apply.
I'll forward it to you. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I keep hearing that word, but I have no idea what it is or what it does.
Yeah, ketamine. Well, yeah. Really quickly.
Mind Bloom is helping people achieve life-changing clinical and personal breakthroughs, alchemizing both the psychedelic medication, psychiatric care from psychiatric clinicians, coaches, we call
That's what it is. It's like, psychiatric therapy, but in almost like LSD. So they sit there, you put this thing on so that you can't see anything in the real world to trip out on, and then I don't know. They write down.
What did this have? Did this have a different name? Did it used to be under a different name? You know what I mean?
I don't know. Did it?
Is it a form of mushrooms? I'm asking.
I think the street name was like K2 or something like that. Is what they were calling it, maybe. Something like that. But yeah, it's just because you can get
like
it.
Special is it Special K?
No. But it's but you can get it from you used to be able to get it from vape stores and tobacco stores for a while. You could get it in powder form, pill form, and then it became illegal to sell in the stores like that because then they started looking at it medicinally.
Did you ever do it, Stephen?
I'm looking at a list of other names. It says other names for ketamine: Special K, K, Super K, Cat, Ketters, Vitamin K, Cat Tranquilizer, and C.
Okay.
I see what you did there. But yeah, I took it once.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Napa.
Yeah. So we are. I don't know if I'm jumping the gun here, but Ron is bringing a show to Governor's. The Giggle Snatch, in the near future, and GD is also working on something at the Giggle Snatch in the near future. The Giggle Room. Now I think they told them that room holds 85 people. You've been in. Have you seen the Giggle Room at Govs? You've seen the Giggle Room, right? It's a small room.
It's like any place. They can seat 30, and if you want to seat 80, you probably could if you packed them, which I think is a great idea. I went in there. I want to do something there because I love a room that's that small. I mean, I love the regular room at Governor's and McGuire's and Brokerage, but that little room is so fun. I got a couple ideas for there. I always have these ideas, and then they say, you know what?
I thought you were going to do a Spalding Gray type of thing where a book reading, read your book or stories from your book.
I have every intention of doing that and having people tell jokes and do the whole thing and make it a podcast, and I just haven't because I'm still doing stand-up memories for no apparent reason. I think we got 3 people watching that show. And the people that watch it love it, but nobody watch. It's not advertised at all. It's a waste of time.
I only found out about. I knew you had done the Klein interview, but it pops up in my feed, and that's how I found my way to it. I'm one of those 3 people that watch it. But I'm curious now, and Darren is here, so we're gonna have to get to him in a minute. But I'm curious about you're on Govs, but you're still on. It's like I don't get when are you on Govs?
I didn't ask me. I guess they're putting the shows also on Governor's. Tony and Michael's.
It's not like a schedule.
They're just airing the shows.
Oh, okay.
I don't. You know what? I'm ashamed to say I don't know, and I've been even more ashamed to say that I really don't care. I'm also going on Tony's show when I'm done with you today. I hope that's okay by you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So you're gonna have to leave now, then, because I was gonna say you're welcome to hang out with Darren.
No. I'm going on Tony's after I'm done with you. I told him
Right.
I'd be glad to come on when I'm done. I enjoy doing this show. You never know. Any minute, Ron might say something.
No, that will never happen.
That's what we look forward to.
Well, see,
You started to say that he's going to have a show. He's going to have a show in the Giggle Snatch room, but you never said what his show's going to be.
It's him and this guy Josh DeWitt. Now, here's the deal. Ron has a protege. I don't know, protege. Somebody he has taken an interest in. I think because he's got a huge black cock, and well, I'm just assuming it. He's a young comic.
Not to be redundant. You mean?
Yes. And I think Ron for some reason likes black men. I don't know if his wife knows about this, but he likes black men, and he is.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
I don't. I hate them. And Steven's grandfather. Me and Steven's grandfather don't. So Ron
having
is
a planned cookout after the show.
Ron has taken an interest in helping this young man become a star, a well-known, and so he's producing a show. And now maybe I'm putting words in his mouth because his mouth is obviously not full of words anyway. But I think he is producing this show and he is hosting this show, but it's not really for him. It's for this guy Josh, who he has taken. I feel like I'm talking about Teller. Teller, you want to tell him what's going on here?
Well, nothing's set yet, but I have several ideas. I've talked to Tony about coming up there to perform.
I thought you already had a date, and we
Oh,
were getting excited.
so you have a concept of a plan. That sounds familiar.
Well, Matt is the one that started talking about it. I never said anything was even
because not only I jumped the gun here thinking that it was already, but somebody else had mentioned to me that that the plans were already in place. Tony's in the audience. He says we show stand-up memories every Monday at 6 on Govs. There you go. Every Monday at 6 on Govs. Yeah. So I apologize, Ron. I thought you already had a date already set.
No, not for there. I got to work it out because he did extend an invitation for me to come perform, but like Long Island's 3.5, 4 hours from me, so I got to figure out which day works best for me to do that.
Don't do it in February. That's all I'm saying. Don't do it in February. February is a bad month.
Now, February, February, they dedicated that to only black comics. Only black comics can perform there in February. It's a well-known fact.
Black February, and it always gets overshadowed by you guys.
Oh yeah, look at that! Look at that! Thank you for sending these pictures. These are Jackie's sending me porn right now. Whoa, she's so hot. She is fucking hot.
That's crop 2024. That's crop 2024. Now you tell me
Welcome
there's
to
no
Coffee
buts.
with the Old Guys.
I thought you sent him pictures of Kay Ballard. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's
and the bus.
Hey, Coffee with the Dog. Suck my dick.
That's her bush.
Let's get to Darren. Darren is here now. Darren Paltrow is the host of the Paltrowpod. No, the Paltrowcast, right? Is that what it is? Paltrowcast. He's an author. His most recent book is the DLR book, How David Lee Roth Changed the World or Saved the World. I don't remember exactly. I got to look that up. What is it? Change the World? Change the World, not Save the World. Darren Paltrowitz is here now. Let's welcome him. Why can't I add him to the stage? Oh, because you know why? Because I have a layout that doesn't include 6 people, right? There he is. Good morning, Darren.
Hey, Jackie. Hey, pleasure to see you again. Do you all know how nice and generous Jackie is? Can I start this with a compliment?
I don't see him.
Oh, well.
Oh, there he is.
Hey.
Yeah.
When I had Jackie on my show a couple months ago, the next day, he's like, what's your address? And he sends me his books.
Yeah.
That is one of the nicest people out there. Love his documentary. Thanks for having me on besides that.
Now, wait a minute. What did you interview me for? What did you interview me for? I thought I recognized your name.
When you had
what was it for? Anything in particular?
Your documentary, like 6 months ago or so, you had some press days, and it was a pleasure to speak with you then, and traded some emails.
Wow.
All right. That's
it
why
wasn't live.
I'm at that age where everybody sounds familiar.
He was in his room where he is now. He didn't come. You weren't in the very same room with him, so you didn't get a hand job like I usually get when he's here.
And if Tony Walker's still in the chat, he had me on to promote the book. All these great people love governors, you know?
Yeah. Yes. It's good to reunite you guys. If you want to, like a little time in the green room together, I can, you can.
Matt, if you need.
Well, at any rate, thank you for the press.
Matt, if you want to show Darren's book, if you can probably fit it between my shoulder and Jackie's shoulder, and I'll physically move over to make room so you can see it if you want.
I don't know what you're saying. I don't know how I would even accomplish that because the book will come up directly in the middle and will cover Jackie's face. Then I don't want to.
Okay, then put me in the middle, and then I'll move over.
Oh yeah, we could do that, and then we can cover your ugly face with the book. How about that?
Yeah.
That's a good. I'm glad you. Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell me about this book, because we were talking about David Lee Roth and what a weird cat he is. Did you interview him for this book?
Yeah, the first chapter is about my interview with Dave in the early 2000s, and the rest of the book is kind of about my chase to figure out the real story. So I interviewed probably close to 200 people for this book. People who are in his band, people who worked with him, people who are diehard fans, etc. And there's a lot of stuff from Jackie's era on the Stern Show that's in this book because Howard got some of the best interviews out of Dave. Most interviews with Dave, he kind of steamrolls you, but then Howard and Jackie and crew kind of got Dave the real human being out there. So that's a lot of the source stuff too.
Are you familiar with Alex?
You know who he is?
What?
Who is he?
Alec. Who?
Alex Van Halen just came out with a statement, or he put out like a video on Twitter where he was talking about part of the problem was David Lee Roth was always jealous of the attention that Eddie was getting and saying, do less guitar solos. And like everybody who came, the appeal of Van Halen was mostly guitar rock heads, and Eddie was the rock god. And so, but David Lee Roth always, according to Alex anyway, was just jealous of Eddie's attention and asking him not to play guitar so much, which I thought was like, let's not be successful.
It's like telling Sinatra to sing less.
Yeah, exactly. Are you aware of that? And does that ring true to you? Knowing what you know about David Lee Roth?
It does. The guy definitely loves being the center of attention. The book kind of delves into that, about how it all starts with his childhood, where he basically had to entertain himself, and he was ADHD before anyone knew what ADHD was, etc. But I think that with Dave, a lot of things are more complex than he is blank, because he has good days and he has bad days like everybody, but the media kind of picks up and runs with one particular story.
Right. I remember seeing him on Rogan, and he was talking about his love for doing cover songs, and Eddie Van Halen hated that. He wanted to be strictly just do original music. Like the point of getting a record deal is so that you can do your music. You don't have to go out and do covers and all the time. But he was, whatever, the Pretty Woman or whatever, lots of different covers. I think Dancing in the Street was the one that made Eddie kind of like freak out. Like, oh, we're doing covers of Dancing in the Street. What do you mean by change the world? How David Lee Roth changed the world?
Well, the rhetorical question I ask you, is early MTV a catapult for changing the world? Did early MTV change the world?
In some ways, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
no, not. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? Are you?
It changed the way we listen to music, and
are you kidding?
there came a time where you could not just put out music anymore. You had to do a video with it, and that made it really stupid because bands were like struggling to try to be doing like short movies and all this kind of stuff, or and I think it did because it took the focus off of doing really good music and said, well, we can't do a song unless it's going to work.
Wait.
We're waiting.
It changed the world of musicians and people who made music and people who made money from music and record companies. It didn't change the fucking world. It changed the music world a bit, maybe even a lot, but it didn't change the fucking world. That's a little crazy.
Actually,
that's a little
it kind of affected the world though, because for example, in the 90s, growing up, every morning when we got up, we didn't turn the news on or cartoons. We put on music videos.
Right. I just want to say, address the hate mail to jokeman@aol.com, or just go to jokeland.com and leave a nasty comment over there, and I would appreciate it.
And also, one of the things that happened with MTV was the entire race dynamic, because in the beginning they only played white bands, and so
it always comes back to race with the black guy.
Well, I was going to talk about the Indianapolis race, but they didn't cover that at all, so that's a moot point.
I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Grandpa, get out of here. Grandpa, go home.
Where white women at? So.
Darren, do you care to respond to Jackie's put down of your idea?
Hold on, I just want to say that I'm just trying to throw sand in the gears. Of course, it changed everything. I'm just being an asshole for the fun of it.
I know.
I was working in 1979 at a club in Jersey, and somebody said, "Look at that up on the screen." And up on the screen behind the bar, there was a song playing with a video. That's MTV. We're one of the test markets for MTV. It was Haskell, New Jersey, and it was a huge deal. And of course, it was a huge deal. I'm just being stupid.
Jackie's the OG troll.
We came to the right place for being stupid. We have stupid is our brand.
So to continue what I'm saying, early MTV did change the world, and one of the bands or artists most synonymous with early MTV was Van Halen. And I'm not saying that we all wore assless chaps because that's what Dave did.
I wore mine way before that.
Oh, okay.
I inherited mine from my dad.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if you look at what Van Halen represented, and then the bands that would follow a couple of years later, like without Van Halen, there's no Motley Crue, there's no Poison, etc. So the guitar shredder thing largely.
That's
what.
If there's no this, there's no that. If there's no Colombo America.
Well, if there's no Milton Berle, there's no Arnold Palmer.
That at all.
Do you agree with that? If there's no Milton Berle, there's no Arnold Palmer.
Absolutely.
No, if there's no tea and no lemonade, there's no Arnold Palmer.
But Van Halen's original manager was Milton Berle's nephew, Marshall Berle. So without Milton Berle, there's no Van Halen.
That's true.
Now, did you ever see David Lee Roth's cock? I was just wondering if it was Berle or Palmer. I'm talking to anybody. Anybody who
I think legitimately, my aunt has. She has the story about how she got to go backstage with Van Halen. She blew them all. So,
yeah. Wow.
But she could have had her eyes closed. She didn't necessarily have to see it, right?
Now, Darren could have interviewed her for the book, and then we'd really know how he changed.
Now I know my book.
She was one of 20 or 30 girls that went backstage. So I mean, I doubt he had time to interview that many.
Time that Eddie would come, he would spit up blood.
Wow. Ron said something. Write that down. Ron said something.
I'm hitting B right now.
Okay. I got an idea. Why not let Darren talk?
Okay, yeah.
Matt, why not let Darren talk?
All right.
Back to you, Darren.
Back to you, Darren.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it, but I'm going to throw the praise back at you guys. Mind Dog, Matt, the Ken Tamplin stuff. Love that. You did great.
Oh, well, you're the only one who loved that. because that has gotten me so much fucking hate mail, almost as much as overnight I got a Nazi who's threatening me, not over that Ken Tamplin stuff, but that has gotten the most negative attention and really changed my life for about a month because all the negative energy that was coming my way just for pointing out that. First of all, you guys, Jackie, you don't know what I'm even talking about here. There's a online vocal coach who was accused of lip syncing. He did lip sync at a live show and used backing tracks. But these people who were attacking him and just trying to bring him down, cancel him, a lot of them have their own courses that they're trying to sell. So they have a reason to kind of want to bring this guy down. And a lot of them are basing all their venom on a guy named Phil who does music analysis, but he uses like pitch correction software to prove shit. And I'm like, I have pitch correction software, and then you're putting God status on Phil and his software, and like anything he says is. And I'm like, in a court of law, this doesn't prove the guy's a fucking fraud as a singing coach. It proves that you don't have to go see him if you don't want to see him lip sync, or you don't have to watch his videos if you don't want to see him lip sync. But at the end of the day, you're calling him a fraud, and basically you don't know. You've never taken his course, unless you've taken his course. And if you did, there's a proper recourse for that to get you to complain to him, get your money back, or sue him or whatever. But it's gotten out of hand with the online trolling of this guy, where it's cancel culture.
Okay,
no,
Darren,
wait.
see what you did?
Whoa.
See what you did, Darren?
I didn't
Where does the Nazi? Where does the Nazi come in?
The Nazi came in overnight.
Where's the Nazi?
On a video. I don't want to say his name. I put out a video about does the Constitution need to be updated, and this guy in the middle of the night last night, this guy was threatening to sick his Nazi friends on me. That's what.
Oh well, so that has nothing to do with the guy with the lip syncing.
Right, that's what I said.
With the lip syncing guy.
No, but the lip syncing thing, Jesus. I put out a video on him to say, and they thought I was defending him. I'm not defending him. I'm admitting that he lip synced. I said that the evidence they showed is not conducive in a court of law, not conclusive in a court of law to accuse this guy of fraud in selling his online course at all. Came back to, why are you defending him? You must be paid by him and all this stuff. But then, like no exaggeration, 50,000. You're a dick. I hate you. You're a piece of shit. You don't know what you're talking about. You're a fucking idiot. You should close your channel down. All this kind of stuff. Just a world of negativity I brought up on.
So, Darren, how did Diamond Davis, Dallas Page, how did he contribute to the book?
So DDP wrote the foreword of the book. He did also do that for my second book. I consider Dallas a friend. He's the most, aside from Jackie, I'm going to call DDP the most approachable celebrity there is. The most responsive, approachable.
Now, who is that?
Tell
me who you're talking about.
Mr. Ortiz, go ahead.
Yeah, DDP is a professional wrestler from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. He still even wrestles a little bit today, but he's mostly known for DDP yoga and for being.
Tell people what DDP stands for, because
a lot of people.
Most people don't know what DDP stands for, right?
Diamond Dallas Page.
But at this point in time, DDP arguably is better known for the yoga because there was a documentary related to it that screened all over. He's written 2 or 3 books, motivational speaking. His acting credits, he's probably been in 30 movies at this point. So there's a lot of people who see him and don't know that he was this Hall of Fame professional wrestler. And he didn't get started into wrestling. I think he was 35 years old, was his first real match. So he's a very inspiring dude. And he told a story in the book about when he encountered Dave. I believe it was at the China Club in 85. Dallas, before he was a wrestler and a celebrity, he managed this guy named Smitty, who was all over early MTV, this competitive eating guy that they used to have down at Spring Break. And Dave recognized Smitty in a club. That's the story.
Wow.
So what about the bass player from Lit? What did he do in the book?
Bass player from Lit, Kevin Baldus, is a friend who took almost all the photos that are in the middle part of the book. And Kevin knows more about Van Halen than just about anybody. Great guy, great photographer. In fact, I think he did Eddie Van Halen's last photo shoot, which we don't have in the book.
Wow. And it's not Kevin Mazur, Kevin Nix. Is that what you said?
Kevin Baldes.
Oh.
Kevin Baldes,
yeah. Yeah, because Kevin Mazur, who's also a Long Islander, is one of the he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They have a whole exhibit of his work of rock stars and all that stuff. He's a friend, and I'm pretty sure he was very in with Van Halen's inner circle. Another friend who, and I'm curious if they've ever mentioned his name, Bob Moon. Bob Moon, is that a name that would come to mind? He was the head of Van Halen's road crew for almost 20 years. He's a guy I grew up with, but they would mention him from the stage. He was one of these guys that they talked about a lot, party animal. So
sure. One of the things that I encountered in this book is which Van Halen and Dave people are under non-disclosures and which ones can talk to you freely. And it's not this clearly known list. You just have to go with these people and go, hey, can I talk to you about this? And then they ignore you and you go, oh, you're one of the NDA people. Oh, okay. So you never know who's going to.
So is that niggers with Downs attitude? What is that? What's NDA
still
for?
On Dubs.
Are we? Sorry.
Yes.
I was just trying to go because I know what NWA is. I was just wondering what NDA was.
I'm sorry. My headphones cut out there I didn't get all the words there, but that's not important. You don't have to repeat it.
Okay. Because I'll repeat it if you want.
No.
I have, for the record, interviewed Arabian Prince from NWA on the Paltrow cast. So
wow.
We can talk about NWA. I just don't say what their name stands for because I do not need
to. See, I don't know. I've never seen it in print. Everybody says NWA. I don't know what it stands for. It's like NDA. I don't know what NDA
I feel
stands
like
for.
You know exactly what it stands for, you son of a bitch.
What is this you just sent me? I'm trying to make. I see what it is, but I mean, what you try to talk about what you just sent me?
I didn't.
Sammy Hagar must have come on the Stern show very soon after he joined Van Halen.
Yes.
So that was something I wrote that Howard
they were
said
trying to
Sammy
come
Hagar,
up with,
and then he signed it.
And so it came out to be Van Hagar eventually, but that wasn't one of the ones he was thinking about. He came up with every other version of what that might be. The thing
but this
with
is
Alex,
long before that was even considered. You know?
Yeah. The thing with Alex coming out the other day, he was kind of defending Eddie and the way people talk about him now. And I have another thing that caused negativity in my life was seemed like a defense of Eddie Van Halen, because a lot of people talk about Eddie as a person, a real standoffish and kind of a dick and all this stuff, and whatever that is. What I knew about Eddie, and I'm wondering if you know any of this stuff, that he was really a philanthropist. He when he found out he had cancer, he was in Danvers in Fort Jeff up here while he was undergoing treatment and all that stuff. And I knew the doctor who first diagnosed him. And it was a strange thing. Eddie went to the kid's house, the doctor's house, and this kid was a big fan. And Eddie was showing him the kid. He took the kid's guitar and put the pick in his mouth. And basically, the doctor said, "Wait a minute, what's that?" He goes, "Well, I'm going to finger pick." And he said, "Well, you just put that pick exactly in the area where your tumor started, and the tumor is in the shape of a pick." Turned out Eddie was using titanium picks, metal picks that were covered with titanium, and they basically diagnosed that that's what was causing his cancer, and it kind of saved his life for a little bit when they figured out what the source was, and then Eddie gave $10 million to cancer researchers.
Well, to rudely interrupt it and bring it all full circle, I think Howard was the only person who directly asked Eddie about that in an interview. So there's that, and the fact that Eddie got his treatment on Eastern Long Island. I think it's Stony Brook. Most people don't realize that. They assume it's Cedar Sinai in LA. So there's so many things related to Van Halen that come back to Long Island and Long Islanders as much as we think of them as a Pasadena or an LA band.
Yeah, I was at Stony Brook working in a pathology office, and this doctor, I'm not going to mention the doctor name, he came into my office and he showed me a picture of him and Eddie Van Halen standing outside my office door. And I said, wait a minute, you just took this picture with Eddie Van Halen standing outside my door, and you waited for him to leave before you came in to show me the picture? You don't get like, knock, knock, hey, I'd like to
It's under non-disclosure. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah, very cool.
And again, what does the N? What the N for NDA? Okay, I got it.
Non.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the bread that you get it from a great Indian restaurant. Non. N-O-N. Non.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down because I've been saying it wrong for years.
Yeah. Now, is there a big because there is this tie Long Island to a lot of these rock bands and stuff. We have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame here, but the wrestling part of it, I'm curious because that's your other big interest is wrestling, right? Or is that fair to say?
It's one of them, and I kind of zoned in on that for the early chapters of the book because people, when they think of Dave, they think of Diamond Dave, and when you like wrestling, I don't care about the matches. I like the personas, what really happens, the behind the scenes kind of stuff. So you got to go, okay, at what point does Dave drop the character and be a normal David Lee Roth? And so I asked different wrestlers because they can look at characters and different actors, what do they see? And everyone has a different answer to that whole thing, kind of like a comedian. Like they're telling jokes and they're outgoing on stage, but most comics we know are kind of shy when the mic isn't on. I want to look
like Ron?
Thing. Yes, exactly.
Even when the mic is on, he's shy. I don't know.
People wish I'd shut up.
The past 5 minutes is actually the first 5 minutes of Ron's set.
What? It was such a what?
That has always been such a that's been such a generality for so long that comedians are quiet or comedians are shy or so they're people. There's the whole gamut of people. Some comics are shy, some are introspective, some are normal people, some are out. The whole thing, every comic is a fucked up guy sitting in the corner cursing his parents. They're not performer normal, but they're not.
I think you could say that about every musician.
You can't put them in a box.
I think you can with musicians.
That they're all fucked up? Yeah.
Yes. And I say that as a fucked up musician. And yes, I definitely feel like I have. Hey, listen, this is why keeping a band together is so difficult. It's because you put fucked up people in a room together. What?
Did I ever tell you a moment where my band was playing in Lincoln Park, Detroit? And it was a tough neighborhood. It was like 1971 or 2, and motorcycle guys had just discovered LSD. And it was a horrible neighborhood, and we were playing at this bar 5 nights a week, and it was a horror. I mean, it was like being in hell. And we had an organ player that was a prodigy. He was like 20 years old. He could play anything. If he heard it, he could just go and say. He was so amazing. But he was such an asshole, and he was gay, but I don't think he knew it yet. He wound up becoming the first guy that ever got married to another guy in East Lansing, Michigan. It's a whole long story. Dale Kitchenmaster. So he had me so fucking fit. And I have never been a violent guy. I think I got in 2 fights in my entire life. I'm just not that kind of guy. And we were done with the show one night, and we were loading the stuff or whatever we're loading in the parking lot. And this guy would get me so fucking nuts. And at one point, and I've never done this in my life, and he was a kid, and I punched him in the chest. I mean, I punched him in the chest, and I said, why can't I get in a band with some normal musician? The light bulb went off, and I realized because they don't make them. There's no such thing as a normal musician. Yeah. And since then, I realize you just once you accept that, Why is he acting weird? Because he's a performer. You know, they're all out of their minds. You know.
Right. I know
I'm done with my story. Sorry.
Steven Sphincter tightened up a little bit when you said he's gay, but he didn't know it yet. Because I used that line on him just a couple of days ago. I said, "You just don't know it yet," and so I'm sure when
I
he heard
can assure you, being at dick level my whole life in the wheelchair, never one time have I looked at a penis and been like, I wonder what that tastes like. That's not a thing. So I can assure you, I am.
Because you don't have to wonder. You know.
I don't. That's the thing.
Whoa. I just got a text from Hollywood. They want Darren to star in the Donna Louise story.
Oh, that's a good timely reference. That was a good pop culture zinger.
Wow. Have you been told before that you resemble Dom DeLuise a little bit?
Oh yeah, all the time.
See, I think Ron, God, from Meathead, from Rob Reiner, right? Isn't that the one who played Meathead? That's right, because even the voice sounds similar to his.
Oh yeah, I think more Dom DeLuise though, even more than Dom DeLuise's kids. I think.
Honest speaking.
I was going to say, but let's be fair. I mean, Dom DeLuise and Eddie Van Halen both look the same currently.
I didn't do it.
They went on that diet.
Yeah.
Die.
I have to say goodbye to Gov's Comedy Network at this moment because Tony is preparing to do his show. For some reason, we have to get off 15 minutes before he starts his show, but we're doing that right now. So,
well, they can do that sound check, and also they got to make. They have a writer for Jackie because Jackie's going to be there.
I just want to say, stay tuned for Knock 'em Dead Comedy, where the guest on the featured guest